The largest aircraft carrier ever built lasted 17 hours. 17 hours from the moment it left port to the moment it hit the bottom of the ocean. It never fired a single shot. It never carried a single aircraft into battle. It never even finished being built. The single most extraordinary thing about this ship is not how it was lost. It is that nobody has ever found it. The Shinano is still out there somewhere, sitting on the floor of the Pacific Ocean, and after 80 years of looking, nobody knows exactly where. The Shinano started life as something else entirely. In 1940, Japan laid down the keel for a third Yamato-class super battleship at the Yokosuka Naval Arsenal. It was going to be a sister ship to the Yamato and the Musashi, the two largest battleships ever built. 72,000 tons of armor and firepower, 9 18-inch guns. The most powerful warship design in history, built in triplicate. But the Battle of Midway in June 1942 changed everything. Japan lost 4 fleet carriers in a single day. 4. The backbone of the Imperial Navy's striking power was gone in 24 hours. Overnight, Japan's strategic problem shifted from how to use its carriers to whether it had any carriers left at all. The decision came quickly. The incomplete third Yamato-class hull would be converted into an aircraft carrier. This was not a simple refit. They were converting a battleship hull into a carrier. The armor, the internal layout, the propulsion systems, everything had to be reworked. Construction took over 2 years. By November 1944, the Shinano was ready for launch. I use the word ready loosely because the ship was not actually finished. Many of the watertight compartments had not been properly sealed. Damage control equipment was incomplete. The crew was largely inexperienced, but Japan was running out of time. American B-29 bombers had begun raiding the home islands, and if the Shinano was still in the dockyard when the raids intensified, it could be destroyed before ever sailing. On November 28, 1944, the Shinano left Yokosuka under the command of Captain Toshio Abe with a crew of approximately 2,300 men. The mission was straightforward: sail to Kure, a more protected naval base further west, where the remaining fitting out work could be completed safely. The journey was supposed to take about a day. Captain Abe chose to depart at night, expecting the darkness to provide cover. It did not. The American submarine USS Archerfish, under Commander Joseph Enright, was on patrol in Tokyo Bay. Enright spotted the Shinano's silhouette shortly after departure. At first, the radar contact was so large that Enright believed he was tracking an island. When the contact moved, he realized it was a ship, a very large ship. What followed was a 7-hour chase. The Archerfish was a fleet submarine capable of about 20 knots on the surface, roughly the same as the Shinano's cruising speed. Enright matched course and waited for an opportunity. Through the night, Captain Abe made several course changes. Each time, Enright adjusted. At 3:15 in the morning on November 29th, Captain Abe changed direction one more time and inadvertently presented the Shinano's broadside to the submarine. Enright fired 6 torpedoes from a range of about 1,400 yards. 4 of them hit. On a fully operational warship with properly sealed watertight compartments and a trained damage control crew, 4 torpedo hits are serious but survivable. Larger ships have taken more and stayed afloat. But the Shinano was none of those things. The watertight doors that had not been properly fitted failed. Water spread between compartments that should have been isolated. The damage control teams were inexperienced and could not contain the flooding. Captain Abe initially believed the ship could survive. He ordered counter-flooding to correct the list and attempted to make for the nearest port. For several hours, it appeared the Shinano might actually make it, but the flooding was progressive, and the crew could not stop it. By mid-morning, the list had become unrecoverable. At approximately 10:57 in the morning on November 29th, roughly 17 hours after leaving port, the Shinano capsized and sank. Of the approximately 2,300 crew members, roughly 1,400 died. The rest were picked up by the escorting destroyers. And then something unusual happened. The Japanese Navy classified the entire event as a state secret. The survivors were quarantined for months, and they were forbidden from speaking about what happened. The loss of the Shinano was not publicly acknowledged. On the American side, Commander Enright reported sinking a large carrier, but the US Navy could not confirm it. There was no intelligence matching a carrier of that size. It was not until after the war, when Japanese records were captured and reviewed, that the United States confirmed the submarine Archerfish had sunk the Shinano. Enright received the Navy Cross. Now here is the part of this story that genuinely confuses me. The Shinano has never been found. The general area where it sank is known. It went down somewhere in the Pacific Ocean southeast of the Japanese coast, in the waters off the Kumano Sea. Estimates place the depth at over 4,000 meters, roughly 13,000 feet. That is deep, but the Yamato was found at a shallower depth in 1985, and the Musashi was found at over 3,000 feet in 2015, after an 8-year search funded by Paul Allen. Modern deep-sea search technology can operate at these depths. The tools exist, but nobody has conducted a comprehensive search. Part of the problem is that the exact sinking location was never precisely recorded. The Shinano went down at night, in wartime, and the surviving Japanese records give approximate coordinates at best. The Pacific Ocean floor in that region is deep and the search area is wide. Without a more precise starting point, scanning the seabed is like searching for a needle in a dark warehouse. The other factor is permission. Japan controls the waters where the Shinano is believed to have sunk. Japanese authorities have not authorized or funded a full-scale search operation. The wreck, wherever it is, would almost certainly be designated a war grave, the same as the Yamato and the Musashi. But you cannot designate something you have not found. There is a strange circularity to it. The ship cannot be protected because it has not been located. It has not been located because nobody with the resources and the permission has committed to finding it. And so the largest warship ever sunk by a submarine, a ship that lasted less than a single day at sea and carried no aircraft into combat, remains somewhere on the floor of the Pacific, its location unknown, 80 years after it went down. The Yamato was found. The Musashi was found. The Bismarck was found. The Titanic was found. But the Shinano, the ship Japan never wanted anyone to know about, is still missing. If you have information about the Shinano, or if your family has a connection to the Archerfish or any of the escort ships, I would like to hear about it.